Welcome to our RFP Money Story podcast, a space for sharing real money stories and where we dive into real conversations about finance, success, and the lessons learned along the way. Get ready for an insightful conversation with an instructional designer and financial advisor, Miss Mary Rose Claudio or Miss M. Good morning.
Hi,
Hi.
good
How
morning.
are you doing, ma'am?
All good. How are you?
I'm doing good. All right. So before we dive deeper into your money story, we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to start first with your personal money journey, your financial mindset.
Sure.
So, what's your first memory of money, and how did it shape your financial mindset?
Interesting. I grew up with a mom who's very frugal and a dad who has a work hard and play hard attitude or some sort of a YOLO attitude. So I've been exposed to, two different mindsets when it comes to money. And I remember my mom being the one who's responsible for saving up, making sure that whatever she earns, she sets aside for our future and a bit of investments on the side. While my dad, after he gets his earnings, okay, spends a significant amount of his earnings, enjoying it and also making sure that we also get to enjoy the fruits of his labor. So it gives me a very good insight on when to apply which because I understand that we all work to earn, but also we also have to enjoy our earnings. So save for a rainy day is my mom's motto. My dad's motto is, you've worked hard, you deserve to enjoy your earnings. So my mindset about money is it's a tool or a vehicle for you to live, enjoy the things that you deserve, and also prepare for your future. So, this is also the type of mindset that I want to instill onto my children. And that's something that I would want to impart also to our viewers, clients, and friends and family. So, while money is a powerful tool, we have to be able to use it wisely, when know when to, put aside and invest and when to also enjoy it because, it's a fruit of our labor.
All right, that actually answers my second question.
Mm-hmm.
Because growing up, you mentioned that your role model is your parents
Yeah.
because they taught you how to save money,
Yep.
like to save and save and save, not to
Mm-hmm.
spend a lot of money in some nonsense things, right?
Yeah.
And for this one, what are some financial lessons you wish you had learned earlier, or you ever experienced a financial turning point, a moment that changed how you see or manage your own money?
Um, when I was growing up, or when I started working, that's when I felt the most financially free, so to speak. Or so I thought, right? Because I'm earning my own money, I can spend it the way I want. Little did I know that, whatever comes in as part of my earnings, you have to be able to save part of it, invest a part of it, and enjoy a part of it. But when I was younger, it was a bit different. So, as my friends know me and my family, I love to shop, especially in shoes and clothes and all of that. And that's something that I wish earlier in life I learned to be more careful with the way I spend my money. But with my parents and my especially my mom being there to support and guide me, okay, she taught me that, I understand that you're earning your own money now, but don't forget that whatever it is that you earn now, make sure that you save some for the future. You can eat today, but you have to worry about tomorrow. So she taught me about investing in real estate early. Okay, so after I graduated, started working, she said, okay, we're going to, allow you to work and earn your keep and all that, but part of your earnings have to go somewhere, not on shoes, not on clothes, but something more, substantial that you can use in the future. So when my cousin had to sell a piece of property, my mom, told me, why don't you invest in this part of your earnings should go here, right? I'm not going to mandate you to contribute anything to the house just yet. Okay, that's fine. You can still live here and enjoy, living here, but I would want you to put a part of your earnings to real estate. Okay. For today, you'll feel it's a struggle, but you'll thank me tomorrow, much, much later. Fast forward to probably 10 years and got married, had a kid, my first child. That's really the turning point, because when you start having a family and specifically children, okay, you don't just really spend for yourself. Okay, you have a household to run, you have a child to take care of and potentially prepare their future for, right? So that's when I started becoming really, really careful about where I allocate my earnings. In terms of the percentage, it varies. They say 50% goes to your household spending or your daily expenditures, 20% for investing, another 20% for other things or for the things that you enjoy. The percentage really, changes, but it does not remove the fact that there are two parts that remain important. That's one, saving, and the other one is setting aside for investments. So the biggest turning point would be that when I started having a family and having kids, because I'm not only going to think about myself, but more for my children as well.
All right. This is actually a bit tough question because you mentioned that you're investing to stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you're also a mom, so
Yeah.
you manage your house money, and at the
Yes.
same time you manage your the savings for your kid in the future, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, do you consider yourself as a saver, a spender, or an
All
investor?
right.
Because you did all of them.
Very good question. I won't box myself into just one type because the situation sometimes require me to be a saver, an investor, and a spender, right? Just like what I mentioned earlier, my mom was a frugal person. My dad is more of a work hard, play hard type of person. And depending on the situation that I am facing, that's when, my saver hat comes in, or my investor hat, or my spender. So to give you an example, during the pandemic, when things were a bit unpredictable, that includes, earnings or your potential income, everybody was at the edge of their seats because you don't know if you're going to have a job tomorrow. So that's when the whole saver hat came in. Partially also the investor part. Whatever it is that I was able to save, part of it I invested. Mutual funds, another set of property, right? The spender hat was just not in the best, time to be, a spender. So we were very, very careful. Things were very unpredictable at that time. So we have to be very calculated with our moves. So it really depends on the situation. Now, as a mom, if you're just going to ask me if it's a saver, a spender, or an investor, probably more of a saver now, because we have to understand that anything in excess of what we have, that's the only time we invest. We have to protect ourselves first, right? Make sure that our income is protected, our life is protected, our property is protected. Whatever it is that we earn on top of that, that's what we invest. Not to say that it's the least priority, but that's what I am at this point of my in my life. But at the same time, again, spend on the things that, earn your peace, small things that help your mental health, so to speak. So, I still like my little fancy things, going out with the family. Eating out is a luxury nowadays, but that's something that we really enjoy. So, just be mindful of where your money goes. Make sure that you have something left, but also don't neglect yourself and your family. So, enjoy,
All right.
right?
I really like how you defended yourself as a saver, investor, and spender. Kasi basically it's like seasonal eh. Yeah,
Yeah.
like for example, pandemic, it's season to be saver, right? And
Yeah.
some stocks sometimes risky siya. There are
Very, very
times na may
risky.
mataas yung possibility na kumita ka. There are times na
Yeah.
low. So, it's very seasonal lang talaga siya. So, you mentioned earlier that your money inspiration is your parents. Now that you're already a parent, do you still want to teach your kid the same thing on what your parents taught you? Or you have different mindset na that you want to teach your child in the future.
Um, it's generally the same, but at the same time with a twist, so to speak. So I would want them to have the freedom to be able to learn money lessons, whether the hard way or the better way. But as I see my children, I have a 14-year-old and son and a 4-year-old daughter. They're not very, how do you call it? They don't like to hold money or ask money from people. You know how it is when Christmas time or
Yeah.
birthday, you know they appreciate small gifts, they appreciate quality time, but they don't really have a very big sense about receiving a lot of money. So my 14-year-old son is more conscious now that not everything that he wants he can get. And I appreciate that because he sees that nowadays it's very hard to earn money, and everything is so expensive, right? So before he makes or asks for something, for a specific purchase, he asks me, Mom, is it okay? Does it fit your budget? Is it too much? Right? Or let's not buy it anymore because, you know, it's too expensive, or I don't need it. My 4-year-old daughter is the same, not so. You can lay out coins and bills and whatever on top of our table, and they wouldn't care less so much. But as they grow up, of course, whether they like it or not, they're gonna hold money. So the way they hold money is the one that's gonna be very important to me. So still save for a rainy day, spend whenever you feel like you deserve it, of course within the means of your budget or your capacity, and be able to wisely invest, because I've encountered this particular quote which is super cute. It's called, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And I super believe in that. So, and in investing, we know that we have two best friends. It's time and compounding interest. So the concept of patience is a virtue in investing, and compound interest being the eighth wonder of the world is something that I would want to instill in them, because as we know, you can't earn from your investings in 1 month, 2 months. It really takes a lot of time. And the earlier you start, okay, the better for you. So hopefully, when they start earning their own keep, I get to impart that to them, that to invest early, no matter how small it is, okay, because 5 years, 10 years, 25 years down the road, they will thank their younger self.
All right. So, as a mother, I assume that you're the one who handle
Yes.
house chore monies. So for this one, how do you approach budgeting? Like financial planning? Are you meticulous, or you just go with the flow?
I've known to be a very highly organized and person, and my attention to detail is uncanny, if I may say that. So I don't. I'm not a super fan of go with the flow. There's a set expenses or list of expenses that we have at home, okay? And there's also a budget for, let's say, going out, traveling a bit, let's say, buying things that we like. I like to know where my money goes. So it's carefully tracked. So people would use an Excel sheet, or there are so many apps nowadays. I depend on an app. And then for each type of expense, it has a category so that it's easy for me to filter how much has been spent for the past week, month, or years on X, let's say food, transportation, rent if it's applicable for you guys, but for me it's mortgage, right? Electricity, utilities, etc. So that I don't wonder where my husband and I's income has gone, you know? So it's more of a very detailed approach so that I can also compare year on year where we've been spending too much on or where we can cut out on, right? So because over the pandemic we had our little girl, so it, you know, our expenses have dramatically changed. So, you will see the difference. So it was just the two of us, we're spending X much. When I had our son, he started going to school. When we had our daughter, so it will dramatically change. So it's more of something that's really tracked on a daily basis, on a last cent thing. Because just so I know, I don't want to wonder where it went. So if I splurge on, let's say, on a weekend, going out with my family, that's okay. I mean, I won't feel so bad versus me wondering. It will give me so much anxiety to know where it all went if I didn't track it. So I'm that kind of person.
Do you have a joint account with your husband?
Yes, I do.
But you have your own money.
Yes, and my children also have their own bank account. So even with the bank accounts, it's labeled. This is for my emergency fund. This is for our, daily expenditures. This is for our retirement and all that. So it's very compartmentalized because it's easier that way for me. I will not end up wondering why this account is depleted drastically. Oh, it's because it's your operational expense, so to speak, like as a family, as a household, versus something that's growing because you just put in any of your extra income or your savings in this particular account. So it's easier that way.
How do you manage your own account, and at the same time you have a joint account with your husband? Is there a time that you're using your own account for family purposes, or you only use your personal account on your own?
I use my personal account for my own. I'll give an example. Like when I enrolled in RFP, that's a personal expense.
Yes.
I can't take it out of our household expense. So I made sure that I set aside because I said, I'm interested in this program, but it costs X number of pesos. So I have to, allocate. So I put it in my personal fund so that I know exactly where to get it from, not to dip on my family savings or my children's or anything else, or not in my investments and all that. So that's how I do it. So if we are going to spend, like, let's say, a little weekend or a family vacation, it's charged against, let's say, the family fund, right? Or car insurances and all that, that belongs to my husband. So he takes care of that. So we take it out of his personal fund, something like that. So again, it's being able to pinpoint and track where the money is coming from. So it's easier for us to know where we spent it on, or where we invested it on, or where we saved it on. So
All right. So since you already mentioned investment, I'm a bit curious about this. Have you ever made an investment that didn't go as planned, or what did you learn from it?
Very interesting. I just mentioned earlier that we invested on some property over the pandemic. That was the spender hat in me thinking that I was going to be an investor, right? Because 5 years down the road, so that was in 2020, now is 2025, we decided to give it up because, life happens. My mother-in-law got very, very sick. She was diagnosed with cancer in 2019, and as we all know, it's very expensive to, support medication, daily care, tests, and all that. So we had to choose. We had to prioritize spending for her daily care versus an investment that we can still probably do in the future. What I learned is that timing is everything in investing. As we all know, as financial planners, financial advisors, wealth planners, timing is everything. I said I was saving a bit. Why not invest it so that in the future I can, reap the benefits? But not counting the fact that things may happen along the way, along that horizon. And like what I said, timing is very, very important. So that's probably not the best time to invest. In my situation. Okay, I'm not saying that this applies
To
to
all.
to all or to
Yes.
everybody's situation, but it just so happened that it didn't really fly in our situation. What I learned is, yes, timing is everything. Just be careful, analyze, and study it very well before you make the investment. Just like with however it is that we tell our clients, okay, don't put your money into something that you don't understand. Always ask, always find out, okay, and if it's too good to be true, then it's probably not for you.
Who do you reach out every time you wanted to invest, or for sure we're not that knowledgeable about finance
Yeah.
before ka maging financial advisor.
Yeah.
And for this one, who do you reach out to? Like, ask questions, tama ba to? Tama ba tong pinag-investan ko?
Very great question. I know at one point it's gonna come up. It's my brother. So I'm actually teasing him all the time that in real life, you are the real financial advisor because he's the one that I approach and I run to if I need advice on anything. Like, should I buy the car now? Should I invest in this? Should we open an account in this and all that? So he's the more experienced when it comes to things like that. He's a non-life advisor, so a non-life insurance advisor, yeah. So, and he handles many other things, and he's very entrepreneurial in nature. But if I were to like ask somebody in this world who I will go to or ask for advice, it would probably be him. Yeah, I mean, he's my younger brother. Yeah.
Okay, how old is he?
He's 2 years younger than I am. He's 43.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what about the risk and rewards? How do you manage them?
How do I manage them? The thing about risk is that we all know that, when there's low risk, there's low return, high risk, high return. So for me, don't go there. If, it's not an all or nothing thing, but for me, if I decide to put on the risk, then I might as well go all out. So as you can probably tell, I'm an aggressive, you know, type of investor, so to speak. And that's just me, right? So if that's not something I'm comfortable with, then I won't do it. Okay. In terms of the returns, I'm patient enough to wait for them. Probably not now, it's okay. But when I need it the most in the future, then that's when I can probably reap all of them. So um, I know that at one point, at that long horizon, there is something to benefit from. So that's my approach for risk and reward. So it's a it's an all or nothing thing for
It's a
me.
win-win balance lang.
Yeah. Some people are so safe about it. So like I put in this much. It's okay if I earn this little, because I feel like you'll earn more if you work for the money, let's say, meaning you'll earn it in other ways, shape, or form. So if
Yeah.
you invest, means that you've decided to put in your money for this long, for this particular amount, for this particular objective. So and I'm okay with that already. So although a good balance in our portfolio also says that there has to be a good mix of something that's more fixed and something that's more unpredictable and something that fluctuates. And that's okay with me as well. It's just that as an investor, or my personality is more of, if we're gonna do it, let's might as well go all out.
I'm a bit curious about your investment. What kind of investments do you working on right now?
Right now, it's a great variety. So because also I'm a financial advisor, I get exposed to different financial instruments and all that. Attending RFP also helped me. So there's stocks, of course, mutual funds, there's property, there's I just got certified as a certified UITF sales professional.
Ah,
So
really? Congrats.
that's going to be next. So a very good balance of all of those things. But I did not invest in those things without studying, consulting, and asking for help and all that. So I keep it at that. So I'm not so aggressive about, let's say, crypto. That's not something that I fully understand just yet, right? I know that they say that it's part of the future of money, okay, but just some more studying,
Yeah,
consulting, asking help. Maybe
for
that
sure,
will,
yes.
yeah, maybe that will help me in the future. But for now, let's stick to the traditionals, as they say, because they're proven, tested, and again, I don't mind the wait for as long as I know my capacity, I know why I'm doing this, and for how long. Okay, that's all that matters. And then that there's like, after everything that I've spent for, let's say, the things that we really need to spend on and save a little, anything that's in excess, okay, that I can, let go and invest.
So, regarding your investments, I'm not sure. It's a bit personal question, but we can just cut it out. If is this something like stocks, properties, or what kind of investment? Insurance?
Yes, so there's insurance, of course, stock properties. No, I have not studied about REITs, as they call it, REITs, right? Not yet. But it's a part of a whole financial journey. What's very interesting about being a financial advisor is there's so much to learn about this industry. I mean, money is not just about being stuck in a bank or invested in stocks or mutual funds or property. There's so many other ways of making your money grow, okay, spending your money, of course, in the right ways, and also keeping it in a way that it's beneficial for you, right? Investments such as life insurance, endowment plans, okay, VULs, okay, you have to be able to understand them properly for you to appreciate it. I know that there's a lot of clamor against VULs, but people need to understand that VULs primarily, first and foremost, is a life insurance product. It's a protection plan. Okay. And anything that you earn, so to speak, from it is just a bonus. Okay. That's something that people need to understand. It's a life protection plan. Okay, it's a life insurance plan first and foremost. Don't look at it as something that will immensely grow your money. So that's not the right mindset towards VULs. So
So, thinking na you are a financial advisor at the same time, an instructional
designer,
designer.
yes.
What's your money goal right now that you're improving?
Two things that are in my absolute list would be retirement and education. I'm about 20 years before retirement. So let's say retirement is 65, right? So I'm 45. And I have a 4-year-old who's incoming preschool. So you can just imagine probably my anxiety. Like, how am I going to do this? I have 20 years down the line to work, and I still have to worry about my retirement. So those are the two things that we're focusing on. So by the time we hit, 65, my husband and I hit 65, we should have gone X amount already and also be able to fund our daughter's education. So we find vehicles that will help us, you know, support our daughter's education. So endowment plans would be one. Okay, so UITF can probably help us out. All those things. So studying on financial instruments that can help us achieve our goals is very important. It's on top of our priorities right now. So that's what we're concentrating on. Attending seminars, a financial fitness forum of RFP, and other programs that will help open our minds in how we can, grow however little money we have in the future for the sake of our children is something that's helpful. And for me, that's good investment because Benjamin Franklin once said that, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And I believe in that completely. So, as much as I can, we study a lot about financial instruments, the industry, markets, how it behaves. So, it'll help us make the right decisions as well. So,
Okay, so I actually do agree on what you said earlier about investments. And for this one, as an RFP member, can I ask how did you discover RFP and
yeah.
what motivated you to join?
I discovered RFP through other financial advisors. So I got curious because they were attending this program and it was not offered in our insurance company. It's a separate program. And then I went to the website, took a look at the topic outline, and really caught my eye because it's everything every Filipino should know in essence. Okay, the behavior of people towards money, insurance planning, investment planning, retirement planning, educational planning. So these are very, very practical topics that every Filipino should know. I feel that's what I feel because even if whether you have a little property, little savings, or you have massive amounts of wealth, it will help you because it's a tailored program. Financial planning is a very tailored program. We work with very specific profiles and very specific wealth capacities. So people would say, I don't have enough money or I don't have a lot of money or property to deal with anyway. But everybody will grow old. Everyone will, or at one point, a family would have to put a child to school. So wouldn't be beneficial if you know how it is like to start from scratch or from step one up until however many steps it'll take for you to be able to say, oh, I have achieved my financial goal. So something like that. That's what really attracted me to it. And I really wish and hope that all schools, regardless of the course that you take, will have like a unit specifically for financial
Yes.
planning. Because like what I said, it's for every Filipino or for every person in the world, right? Because it's a reality. We can't escape it. We can't always just live, day by day with just whatever we have. I mean, it's so hard to participate in that rat race. Like you earn, you spend, you earn, you spend. Like we can't be always working. Money should also work for us and harder than us, I believe. So that's what really enticed me to join. So and then I think I was the only one in my batch from my company, at least in my batch of financial advisors who did. And I didn't regret it at all because, again, you meet so many people, you meet so many financial experts that will help you, educate you, and they're so friendly and nice. And if you ask them a question, they're so gracious in helping you out. So that's what really attracted me to the program.
Okay, so of course you're joining webinars, seminars
Yes.
here in RFP. What is the best learning that you absorb from RFP na you know na you can recommend it to other people?
So again, first of all, invest in your learning. People always want like free learnings or free seminars and all that, but you know, well, they say that they're spending time and not just money. Okay, so okay, that's fine. But when you really invest on something, like really, you really shell out on your learning, I feel that there's more accountability because, again, you shelled out money, you need to be able to get a return on that. So, one of the greatest things probably that I've learned in RFP is that, specifically that situation. If you don't have money, then use your time to earn money. If you have the money, then use it to save your time. Because if you're broke, and you're busy, then there's a gap in between. So, spending time on things that really matter, such as financial planning, and the nitty gritty of it, it's not just save money, invest money. It has different facets to it. And it addresses specific goals. Are you covering for your life? Are you saving up for your children's future? Are you saving for your future when you grow old? Right? You have acquired something or you inherited something. How can you make the most out of it? What obligations do you have to the government? Right? So we have to know that because when things go haywire or when, our parents pass away, it's not just that it does not end with that. We have obligations to the government, right? So, and it's so sad that people don't know that. Whether it's a small, I mean, you have a joint account with your mom and your mom passes away, you're fighting the bank because they won't give you the money. So it's a very sad story to tell and to know. So knowing is really half the battle, right? And implementing is another. But seek more knowledge, especially on how to handle finances. I'm not saying that I'm the expert, the epitome of a perfect investor. I'm far from that. And that's why I'm here, because I want to learn more. And by learning more and teaching the same learnings to your clients, you get to empower a lot of people. And I feel like that's what I was born to do, something like that. So that's my people are looking for their worth in life and all that. So coming from a training background, now, designing courses and all that, why not do that for finances, for wealth management and all that? But I also need the help of experts, people who have been there, done that, suffered, succeeded, earned, lost, you know, you can learn a lot from these types of people, from different backgrounds, poor, rich, very, very interesting and very, very important for me.
Okay. So as an RFP member, for how many years have you been a member?
Two, two
2 years.
years.
So for that 2 years, how did it influence your approach in financial planning to yourself and to other people as well?
How it influenced me, RFP, is that for every, earnings that I make, I attach it to an objective, right? Is this for, you know, whatever I earn, okay, I divide it into different sections or objectives. So part of it for regular expenditures, is this going to help me with my future self? Is this going to help my children? Is this going to help me when I get really, really sick? Is this going to help me protect myself? You know, and I feel that it should also be the same for others, right? That everything is about planning. That's why you're called a planner. So there's nothing wrong with planning way in advance because that's really how you attack life, so to speak. You don't go to war without preparing your weapons. You don't fly a plane without studying it very well, right? So I feel like that's where it's lacking, the planning, the preparation, the investment in knowledge and studying. It doesn't have to be super formal, okay? Contacting an expert, a financial advisor, a wealth planner is a significant step. If you feel that you can't do it yourself, contact an expert. They spent time, money, blood, sweat, tears, analyzing and studying the process. And it's their responsibility to pass it over to you so that you can benefit from what they've experienced, what they've studied, what their expertise is on. So that's how I would approach it.
All right. So since you've met a lot of people, you're more exposed to finance people. How has becoming an RFP helped you in making better investment and wealth decision making?
Becoming an RFP helped me decide carefully where to put my money because the program is divided into different types of planning, financial planning. So, insurance, retirement, investment, education, right? It helped me define properly where my investment should go. Okay, so it's not like, oh, I'm going to invest. But one of the primary reasons a person should invest, you should have an objective or you should have a clear reason why you're investing. You can't say, I just want to. But why? As a financial advisor or as a wealth planner, I will always ask, but why? Why would you want to invest? Like, how long do you intend to stay invested? Okay, let's check on your capacity, right? What are your reasons? Are you more of a risky type of investor or aggressive, or are you more of a safe type? Something like that. So I think it's important that the learnings from the program really reflect on what we do now as a financial advisor, and also just being a mom handling money at home. So that's the influence that I would want to be able to impart to my clients, to friends, family, and anybody who's interested in also joining the program.
All right. Let's compare way back you were single or you were a college or a teenager
Oh my gosh.
or you're
Okay.
just observing what your parents' financial mindset, and then compare it to now as a mother, the one that you handle your own money, you handle your joint account, emergency fund, family savings. What are the changes that you observed?
Very, very clear. There is always an objective when I, spend money, what is it for? Because when I was younger, when I was single, when I started working, and my friends know this so well, it's just I earn and I spend. That's it. I mean, I earn today anyway, I'll earn tomorrow, so I can spend it all today, which is not the mindset you should have, right? Well, that is the change. When you become a mother, you can't just spend on yourself, on clothes and shoes and whatnot, because you have a child to feed, you have a household to run, okay, you have a husband to help, right? So it's super different. That's why when I first became a financial advisor, my friends are like, you, a financial advisor. I said, that's called a turning point, and that's called an evolution, you know? So it's really very different. And if you get to interview my mom, she would also say the same thing. Like, she would spend and just, buy certain things that are not important and not thinking of what's going to happen the month after, the year, the decade after. So it's just, I don't care attitude about money. But now it's more, it's not just about yourself. I guess it's very natural for a wife or a mother to shift priorities once you become this figure called a mother and a wife. So it's now very different. It's more of always, we're eating today, but how about in the future? I'm afraid. It gives me anxiety actually, that what's gonna happen if I get sick or I don't get to work anymore. That's why all these financial instruments that help you earn passive income, let's say, should be able to assist you and not solely depend on your physical body alone to make the money. Because that's, physical, a machine deteriorates. What more a human being, right? So we have to be prepared. So that's the pole opposites of how I was when I was younger, single, and now how I become, or when I became a mother. Yeah.
Okay. So if there's something that you want to say to our viewers, listeners, Gen Z, uh, Gen Alpha, Boomers, Millennials, what are the valuable lessons that you learned in financial planning?
One valuable lesson is really simple: start early. You know, the best time to invest or save or be knowledgeable about financial matters was yesterday. But too late, yesterday is gone. The next best time is now, not tomorrow, because now, because like what I said, time and compound interest are your best friends when investing or when you're saving and all that. So start early. That's really, really simple. Start early. If you don't know how to start, don't know where to start, don't know who to ask, you know, start with family members who you look up to when it comes to finances. It doesn't have to be a financial advisor right away. Just like with me, I started out with my mom and my dad, then my brother, right? Because these are the people I feel like they know what they're doing when it comes to their finances. They're credible enough. I feel safe when I talk to them. It doesn't have to be a financial advisor right away. If you're more comfortable talking to your parents about it, your brother, your spouse, go ahead and do that. If you feel that their knowledge and experience is not enough, then that's when you tap other experts who have zero bias, who will only give you their expertise and their advice when it comes to how to handle your money properly. So, again, really simple. Start early. If you haven't already, talk to somebody that you really trust. Next in line, somebody who has the expertise. Okay. If you can't find somebody who can, you can do a one-on-one, join webinars. You can start with free ones, and then as you learn more, invest in yourself. Don't, the same manner that you splurge on clothes and shoes and gadgets and all that, spend more here, because that's what's going to give you the more ROI, I feel. more than your money, but it's the skill and the things that you learn. So, very appreciative of the team behind RFP for putting this together, especially for financial advisors like us, whether you belong to the top or, any type of financial company. So, even I had classmates from the RFP program who have no who are not financial advisors, not accountants, not lawyers, plain homemakers, just because they want to understand how can they better manage their finances at home. And it always starts from there. So again, this is a program that's a must for every Filipino.
All right. Before we wrap things up, is there something that you want to promote, like your social media accounts, business, books that you already read that you want to recommend to other people?
Sure. So I'm inviting everybody to follow my page on Instagram and on Facebook. It's called The Money Machina. And also my Facebook page, just Mary Rose Claudio. If you do need insurance planning advice as well as some investing advice, you can also contact me directly. I'd be more than happy to share more stories with you and more advice. That's it.
All right. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you love diving into money stories as much as we do, make sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, or visit our official website at rfp.ph for more financial insights. Until next time, keep chasing those money moves.